Most folks like to show off on social media and glorify working for yourself, or think it's cool to say, I'm an entrepreneur. But I would tell most, don't do it and keep your day job, for real. Nobody posts about the 18 months between projects or jobs. The version of my story everyone hears skips straight from corporate strategist to founder. That gap, the part where I didn't know what I was anymore, or if I made the right decision, that's the part nobody talks about. Today, friends, that's the whole discussion and theme. So, welcome to the second episode of the S.O.R podcast. Let's get into it.
This episode of the S.O.R podcast is sponsored by Fuel the Future Platforms, makers of the Assistive LMS, and Lyceum, enterprise AI agents, staffed and managed, as well as Build Smarter Fridays with AI. Don't get left behind. Get in the room.
Welcome back to S.O.R, sharing our resources. Last time I told you about my 25 plus year career and why I kept the corporate playbook closed. So we are now doing things differently and sharing that playbook. If you're in a pivot right now and it feels like nothing is working, this episode is for you specifically.
Hey, LV, glad to kick things off. To start, our audience wants to know, what is the part of the story that gets overlooked?
When I left the security of working a 9 to 5 at National PTA and K-12, or even inside brands like Rosetta, FedEx, PNC, and federal agencies to build Hey Design Guy as its own thing, the story people hear is he started a consultancy. What actually happened was almost 18 months of half-finished pitches, small projects, clients who didn't materialize, and a calendar that used to be packed going embarrassingly empty. I told people I was building when really I was scrambling. That gap is the very pivot. What I learned was that the launch announcement is not the pivot. It's the press release for a pivot that has already happened quietly, in private, while you doubted yourself. Here's why the middle of a pivot feels so much worse than it actually is. You're being measured against two timelines at once: the old identity, or the comfort zone you're leaving, where you had proof you were good at something, and the new identity you're building, that uncomfortable space or zone where you have no proof yet. Of course, the middle feels like failure. You've given up your evidence and you haven't built new evidence. That's not failure. That's the actual shape of a transition, and nobody warns you what that shape is supposed to feel or look like. In my experience, there are 3 signs in this transition. But before we get into those, check this out. Stop hiring like it's 2015. Founders and engineering leaders tell me the same thing. You need senior developers yesterday. But the hiring process takes months. By the time you find someone, the roadmap's already off track. Buyers Dev has been solving this for 15 years. They offer the top 1% of tech talent in Latin America, over 4,000 senior engineers. These are senior professionals who integrate directly into your team. Full disclosure, I'm a senior advisor at Buyers Dev. Google, HP, and Rolls-Royce trust us for enterprise-grade delivery with startup-level speed. If you're scaling a team or stuck waiting on a hire, DM me. Let's connect and get your team moving. Booking link in the post.
And now, back to the episode.
So, how do you know if you're in a real pivot versus just stuck and avoiding the truth? Here are my 3 signs. 1, you're saying no to things that would have thrilled old you. If a version of work that used to feel like a win now feels wrong, that's not confusion. That's growth outrunning your old identity. 2, you can't fully explain what you're doing yet, but you can feel when something's a fit. Clarity of language comes after clarity of direction, not before. If you can feel the shape even without the words, you're pivoting, not drifting. 3, the fear is specific, not vague. What if this doesn't work is a vague fear, and it can paralyze you forever. What if I have to go back to a room I already left is a specific fear. And specific fear means you've already moved somewhere real enough to be afraid of losing it.
What is something that you wish someone had told you about becoming an entrepreneur or starting the journey of working for yourself?
I would probably say that I wish someone had told me that the bare or empty calendar at first wasn't proof I'd made a mistake. It was proof I'd stopped doing work that wasn't mine anymore before I built the new work, business, or product. In this case, Hey Design Guy and HDG University. There is definitely a gap between those two things, and the gap is supposed to be uncomfortable, so embrace it and keep going. It's not a signal to turn back. It's the toll or hard knocks for the move you already made. This is just part of your crazy yet beautiful journey. So trust in God, keep working hard, and stick to it even on those days that you doubt what you're doing. Some of the things I'm currently building are a school for students, adults, and veterans who are looking for an alternative to college through apprenticeships by connecting employers with ISDs here in Texas. My team and I are teaching people how to use AI in their everyday life, creating AI agents for businesses, working on a cognitive and mental wellness app for the caregivers of stroke and dementia patients with potential partnerships with UTD, University of Maryland, and Johns Hopkins. And last but not least, collaborating with WorkLearn on a reentry and juvenile justice platform to educate and empower those justice impacted through workforce development, even behind bars, where they can actually earn while they learn to change their lives inside and their families on the outside. So stay tuned. That one will be huge. And of course, there are client projects and a senior advisor role with Buyers Dev. This is why S.O.R exists, so the next person's 18 months feel a little less alone than mine did. If you're in the middle of something right now and it feels messy, that's not a sign you're doing it wrong. Next episode, I'm going to name the actual tools, mentors, and moments that got me through that gap. The real resources, not the highlight reel version. If this one hit close, that's exactly the point. So repost and share. Until next episode, peace and God bless.